Ladies and gentlemen, the Undertaker is down. The Undertaker is lying on the mat. He's down. What's he going to do? Oh, look, there's Paul Bearer coming with the urn. Is he going to do it? He's holding up the urn. And the Undertaker rises. Welcome to another episode of Just in Time Worlds with your host, Marie Mullaney. Now, I will admit that wrestling has been a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, and I did enjoy The Undertaker and his antics with the urn and all of the events around it. But the reason why I referenced it in today's clip is because I want to talk to you about channeling magic, specifically using items to channel magical power. If this kind of fantasy world building interests you, do hit the subscribe button down below. And if you would like to join my community of world builders on Discord, the link to that server is down below in the description as well. Okay, let's get cracking with channeling magic. You can largely divide channeling magical items up into a few separate kinds of items. The first of which is items that enhance what is there. So in other words, these are magical items that amplify or purify the magic that you have. A good example of this comes from the grandfather of fantasy, j.r.r. Tolkien himself. The One Ring did this. That's why it worked so well for Sauron. It enhanced what Sauron's magic already was. It made him greater than what he could ever be. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important that a hobbit carried the ring to Mordor. Because a hobbit who got corrupted by the ring would essentially turn into a creature like Golem, because they don't have any magical power of which to speak, so there isn't anything for the ring to enhance. But if Gandalf carried the ring, essentially he would turn into something as vile as Sauron and with as much power. Hence why he couldn't carry it. So that kind of magical item takes what you have already and makes it better. Another example comes to us from the X-Men universe. So Cerebro enhances Professor X's abilities to the point where he can reach across the whole planet with his mental powers. It is an enhancement effect of what he already has. You can also do this in a consumable form. So Brandon Sanderson uses this in Allomancy. The metal duralumin is such an item. Now, Allomancy, of course, works on consumption basis, so you consume the metal and it increases your allomantic abilities. Later, he also introduces another metal. This metal is called Necrusil, and this allows an allomancer to affect another allomancer's power by increasing it or purifying it. So you don't have to use only permanent items like the One Ring or Cerebro in order to use this kind of magical channeling. You can also use consumables in order to boost your innate magic. You can even look at the way that Captain America was created as this kind of consumable boost, because the serum that turned him into Captain America, while it had a permanent effect, was effectively enhancing what he already had inside him. As a hero, he became more heroic, he became stronger, he became faster. It takes what you have inside you and it makes it more. And if you enjoyed that discussion around channeling items that increase or purify your magic, hit the thumbs up button. And let's talk a little bit about channeling items that are basically really kind of a crutch or maybe a focus item. So sticking with comics, in the Marvel universe, the hammer Mjolnir is like that for Thor. He thinks he needs the hammer in order to call lightning. But in fact, the hammer just helps him focus that ability. He could call lightning without it, and later on in the movies, of course, he does. This kind of item that helps you focus your abilities is also what Harry Dresden uses. So he has a number of items that serves as this kind of focus. He has a shield bracelet, which is little charm shields, which allows him to construct a multi-layered shield that can stop bullets, can stop fire, can stop all kinds of things from hitting him through the shield bracelet. Now, without the bracelet, he can create a shield, but it takes more energy and it is not as robust as the shield that he can create if he uses his bracelet. The same applies to his fire. Now, Harry is an evocation-focused wizard, and he is thus very good at creating fire. But without his blasting rod, that fire tends to go kind of all over the place and splash damage and have collateral damage, and basically it's not a great experience. But with his blasting rod, he can focus that fire into the rod itself, and that allows him to have much more control over his fire. The same applies to his staff that he uses for general magic. His apprentice, Molly, uses 2 wands to focus her magic and to apply some control to her illusions. And in the Dresden universe, even the mighty wizard Ebenezer McCoy has a staff with which to focus his magic. And that is because magic is a wild force, and using these items allows you to channel it through something other than your body, so it allows you to do more while not becoming as tired and to apply more rigid limitations onto your channeling magic item. And if you enjoyed that discussion of channeling magic items as a way to control wild forces or as a crutch in order to help you learn how to control wild forces, hit the thumbs up button. And let's talk about channeling items that give you abilities that absolutely weren't there. So this is what I call channeling item required, as in you cannot do this without the item. A good example of this comes from Warehouse 13, which was an amazing show. I freaking loved it. Anyway, as an example of this, in Warehouse 13, there was Benjamin Franklin's ring. Now, Benjamin Franklin's ring enhanced the body's bioelectric energy, allowing you to turn your hand into a torch, like a flashlight. But it also turned a laser cutter into a lightsaber. So it takes a thing and enhances it, sure, but it enhances it beyond anything you could naturally do. So for me, this is separate from the items which enhances your innate magic. These items give you magic. There is no way you can take your bioelectric energy and turn it into a torch. This ring did that for you. Or it turned your laser cutter into a lightsaber for you. There was also James Braid's chair that enhanced the innermost desire of anyone who sat in it. And there was also Alessandro Volta's lab coat that enhanced biomagnetic attraction. So these items took what was completely not there and made magic appear in them. What does that mean for you as a world builder? If you are going to create channeling items, they're probably going to fall into one of these 3 categories. Enhancing the magic that is already there, like Cerebro, the One Ring, or the Allomancy metals. Or they're going to be there to focus magic and narrow it down so that you don't have to expend as much energy or so that you don't do as much damage, a la the blasting rod from Harry Dresden universe or the Mjolnir hammer from the Marvel universe. Or they're going to be items that give you magic, a la the items that come from Warehouse 13 and did crazy things to give people access to magical abilities. So when you're designing your channeling items, decide which one of these 3 categories they go into, and then build it into your magic system to work with the type of channeling magic that you want to introduce. And those are my thoughts on magical items that allow for channeling. If you enjoyed this video, You will probably enjoy my video on Creation Models 101, how to get started creating with magical items, or any of the other videos on my channel. If you want to support me in making more of these, links to my Ko-fi page or my book down below. And I will see you soon for another episode of Just in Time World.